Well, here we go, folks. It's a few days after the election, and there's one really big one, runoff election to talk about, and it's in Jackson. And I've got the person who pulled off a big surprise, I thought. I think a lot of people were like, whoa. And he is John Horhn, state senator. He's here not as a state senator. I will talk later about the legislature, about what did you have better to do than do a budget? But we're not going to ask you about that, because you've been sort of mired into this business about running for the mayor of Jackson. Congratulations and welcome. Pulled off 48% in a huge field of candidates. And what's missing still just yet are the affidavit and absentee ballots. It's 800 plus. And don't you wish you could just snag those?
Oh, yeah, Mary. It's actually 49% and counting. But we had a little over 1,000 absentee and affidavit ballots that are yet to be counted. We know that we've gotten at least 400 of those to date, and we're going to keep hope alive. But the numbers, we don't think the numbers are really there for us to just have an opportunity to win it outright. Yeah.
Because here's the way it works, folks. In Mississippi, you have to have 50% plus one. So that means one person. It's not a percent. 50% plus one, and so you're now at 49%.
That's right.
Well, who knows what these things could. You don't know, I guess. How did you do it?
A lot of hard work and a lot of help. I want to commend my team of folks who worked on the campaign. We had some novices. We had some very experienced people who came together to work on this campaign, and we did it with a great ground game that came through for us in the end. We thought we had a good radio, TV presence, social media presence, and it was just a combination of all of those things.
Well, I know you had, I don't have Facebook, but I have seen some of the things on Facebook. There are parts of it that thank goodness for people like you, that we can see. And there was some, a lot of good information on there. What else did you use besides Facebook? Did you use we
used Instagram.
Instagram?
Yeah, a lot of Instagram. Yeah. Not much Twitter. We don't fool with Twitter.
Oh, have you ever?
No, I got an account on X, but I very rarely use it. Yeah. Don't use my
You're not a
LinkedIn account.
No. And are you a TikToker?
No.
Okay.
Some of my staff, my younger staff, wanted me to do a mayor's dance on TikTok, but that was quickly ruled out.
That was probably a good idea. Somebody just came in. He came in behind you, and this is a young man named Travis.
No, this is Jamal Sibley.
Oh, okay. Hi, Jamal.
Actually, Jamal is the grandson of Dr. A.H. McCoy, who is
famous,
the person for whom our federal building is named, and his grandmother was Dr. Rose McCoy, for whom the Rose McCoy Auditorium at Jackson State is named. So he's got a heck of a legacy to live up to.
And I would imagine that might have been a little foot in the door for students at Jackson State to vote. Would be a really good thing for.
Well, he's actually a Princeton graduate.
Well, but we don't have Princeton here yet. Congratulations. No, not yet. Not exactly. Hey, Jackson State's nothing to shake at. You can't look down at Jackson State.
We did a forum at Jackson State and got really good coverage and a lot of engagement from students at that forum.
You did about how many forums? About 3? I remember that there was
too many. We're forumed out right now, and in fact,
might have another one.
We don't expect that we're going to do any forums or debates going forward. Yeah. We think the people know what they know, and there's nothing new that's going to be experienced in these debates and forums. We're going to take our race directly to the people.
Are you looking for any of the other candidates to endorse you?
We've spoken to a couple of them, and the discussions are still underway. But we feel confident that we can take this race with almost half the votes to our favor right now. We just have to get our people back out.
How was the voter turnout? I didn't even check it out. Was it
not
good?
As high as we would have liked. It was much higher than 4 years ago. Only 13,000 people voted 4 years ago. But 29,000 folks voted in November, and we had 25,000 to vote on Tuesday.
Well, that's good. That's better turnout. I hate it when a lot of the so-called experts say, "Oh, low voter turnout is expected." Yeah. That should never be said. It should never be said. It should always be encouraged to have the most voter turnout.
Right.
And there was such a small percentage that last time. Well, during this campaign, I saw. Of course, I had you on the show right after you announced. I remember that. As soon as he announced, like, get him on the show before he gets too busy. But saw a lot of your TV spots, and you hit on all the things that are on people's minds: streets and water and so on, cleaning up, etc.
Crime and blight.
Oh yes,
yeah, we've got a lot of work ahead of us.
So, what's going to be your goal, or what are going to be your things you're going to concentrate on for the runoff, which, by the way, is on the 22nd of April, folks? So, what's going to be different?
Well, we want a tighter campaign and a tighter structure. We had a few holes. You're always going to have some things you could do better. But we're just going to keep to our message, stay on point. The three things that we keep telling folks that we're going to prioritize are a restoration of trust and accountability between the city and the taxpayers and residents of Jackson, as well as trust and accountability with Hinds County, the state, and the federal government. We believe that the restoration of that trust is going to yield valuable resources for us, and we also believe that citizens will have a restored faith in its city government.
And you have to have a good relationship with city council as well.
Yeah.
I've had like Councilman Stokes on here saying that you can't even find out who works in departments and how many there are, stuff like that, and where the money is. Yeah. They've not. The administration has not given it to them.
Right, and looking at the budget is going to be a top priority once we get in. But the other 2 points are having more consistency of assurance that your basic services are going to be met in this city.
Yes.
Reduction of crime, but also having solid water sewer systems in place, making sure that when you call down to the city of Jackson, someone responsible who's knowledgeable will answer the phone and get you what you need. And then the third thing is speaking of the council, we got to put a comprehensive plan of action together. The old saying, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. And that's kind of where Jackson is right now.
Yeah, really.
So we've got to get an interactive, comprehensive plan that's done by professionals, but with input from any citizens that want to have input.
And you got to have good communications with the council members.
Yeah. I think that if we put a plan of action together, then Ward 1 understands how it fits with Ward 3, and Ward 6 understands how it fits with Ward 2, and so forth. I think it'll generate better cooperation and working relationships with the council.
Yeah.
Because you don't have a plan, it's easy to get distracted in the egos and personalities, and you get sidetracked and not about the business of governing for the people.
And it's got to be cohesive. Got to be cohesive. Everybody's got to cooperate with something like that.
That's
one council member can't say, "Well, I don't like that" or whatever. You all have to. They have to, and everybody, the mayor, they all have to get together and make it one unit, because you got to make one Jackson too. You can't be Northeast Jackson or Verdant Addition Jackson. Whatever. It's one Jackson.
That's right.
And one people, and the city cries for that.
We got to prioritize, what we're going to do, and I think that will cut down on some of the rancor.
Well, yeah, prioritize, like especially infrastructure. Mm-hmm. That's such an important facet. Streets that have been redone are coming apart again.
Yes.
And there are streets that haven't been done yet, and I swear I'm going to be the one that falls through the one on southbound Ridgewood Road. I'll tell you, you know what I'm talking about. There are a couple of places southbound, south of Old Canton, between Old Canton and Northside Drive. There are a couple of ones in the right lane, ones in the left lane. And I swear,
I can take you to South Jackson, Mary, and find a lot of hair stand on the end.
Yes, I'm sure. I've seen a lot of that stuff on TV. And it's like, hey, come on, streets. We need streets. Do you think that the city should continue with this third party on the water deal, or do you think that, like every other city in the country, the city water department should be supported by the users with their monthly payments?
Yeah, the ratepayers ought to have a say in how that operation is run. And our goal is to demonstrate to the courts, to EPA, even to the state, that Jackson can mind its own business and can handle its own business. But we've got to put a good team of people together, not only in water sewer administration, but throughout city government, to, again, restore trust and accountability.
You've also got I believe it's still in place, what do you call it, with the government, where you have to explain and report to the EPA every so often how your sewer system is working, because there are pipes in people's houses and yards that they don't use the word leaching through, but the sewer water leaches through, and that's got to be addressed as well.
Well, pretty immediately after the crisis and EPA stepped in, we were able to restore the sanctity of our water treatment facility at O.B. Curtis, which had flooded when we had the storms back a couple of years ago. The problem now, and the problem that really has been lingering, is the transmission of the water. Mm-hmm. We got to replace most of the pipes in Jackson, that's a big job. But that $800 million we received should be enough to cover that replacement.
Some people want to get rid of the fuel plant. That's the one, folks, that's at the
it's kind of antiquated.
Waterworks. Right. But I always call him Mr. Curtis and Mr. Fuel. When the last crisis was a couple years ago, old Curtis, he's a new guy, Curtis up there with all his computers and everything, he failed, but old Mr. Fuel pumped away. So, do you want to get rid of him or have him in for backup or something? Because, hey, he worked.
Well, we need to have some further discussions about what we do with fuel. There's also a need to address some issues of pressure and transmission in South Jackson, and it may be that we need to put a station down in that area.
Wow. Well, say, folks, this is John Horhn, if you didn't know, State Senator John Horhn. Like I said, I'm not going to ask him about the legislature, which is over with, and you'll be going back. So you got to do that, too, I would presume, for a special session to talk about the budget. And my question is, what else did you have better to do? Well, but no, I'm not asking you that today. Today, you got enough to do to think about this mayor's thing. But you can call him up at 888-808-8637 if you would like to speak with Senator Horhn, the mayoral candidate. You can text him at 601-879-4395, and you can watch us at supertalk.fm/Mary. So, what else you got to do besides fix the water, fix the streets, fix the sewer, make sure that the sewer plant works okay, down toward Byram. They're always... they can do their own water system. That's what they want to do, and their own sewer system, but still. Because, how many times we have to hear, that plant down there on, I can't think of the name of the plant. There's only one big one, the one down there on I-55 that can't go fishing, can't go swimming from there down to wherever, something like that. That's got to be done, too. You have a lot of work to do.
A lot of work ahead of us. The hard part is when you get elected and get sworn in. That's where the real work begins. Oh,
absolutely. So, so these next 3 weeks, less than 3 weeks now, because it's been a couple of days already. Is there do you have like a plan outlined someplace where everybody's in your staff on it? Is that how you operate? I don't know. How do you operate?
No, what we're going to do is just reignite our efforts and just put keep our foot on the gas.
Did you go door to door? Are you a door to door guy?
We did a lot of door to door through canvassing. There will be more direct mail. We'll be holding community and neighborhood meetings, that sort of thing. We're looking for endorsements, and just what we've been doing all along. We were pleased to get a biracial group of business people was the first group that came out to endorse us.
Good. That's what you need.
That was
in
followed up by Communication Workers of America, who represent many city workers who endorsed us, and then the Firefighters Union endorsed us last Friday.
So, what is your relationship with the police department and Chief Wade?
A very good relationship with all of the law enforcement agencies.
Well, then you got Capital City,
you got the Hinds County Sheriff's Office, Capitol Police, JPD, and then there's some other ancillary deals like Jackson Public Schools and whatnot. Our relationship is really good with all of them.
You will want to make some changes, but that's good to know that you feel good about them.
I think they're working well together, and you couldn't have said that 2 years ago.
No, 2 years ago I was like, who are these people and what do they want? And now I think it's like, hey, they're okay. And JPD has been able to increase the salaries, which I think help a lot.
Right, we've got to increase personnel, equipment, and technology. That's what comes next.
For some reason, I guess it was a grant. They are getting several new cars at JPD, and I think they might either have or they're going to get cameras, uniform cameras.
They already have body
cameras. Do they have
cameras.
those body cams? That's what they need. They need those very much so. But
the new logo on the vehicle looks much better than the orange. Yeah, I saw one yesterday.
What color is it?
Chief Wade. It's blue. Back time of the year, blue and white. Yeah, it looks really good.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen any. Did they stop you, or did you just happen to?
No. I was tailing them.
Oh,
no, I'm kidding. I was just past one, and I just thought, that's the new logo. It looks great. It really does. Real clean.
Well, how would you assess the budgetary process, or not the process, the budget, the amount of money that the city has? Is Jackson flat broke? Has Jackson got some money? Is it paying its bills? How is Jackson?
Well, that's the $430 million question, Mary.
Is that?
The city's budget is somewhere in that neighborhood.
Oh.
Yeah. And my question has always been, what are we doing with the money? I don't understand with our budget being as healthy as it is, why we don't have traffic lights that don't work, why we have as many potholes on the streets as we do. How many personnel do we really have? Does anybody really know? So those are some of the top questions about the budget that we plan to get after soon as we get in.
Yeah, I was hearing about some traffic lights someplace. It was down the south end of the city, down near Byram, but not in Byram, of course. Down near Byram, traffic lights have been out for a very long period of time.
Yeah.
Well, that's
all over the city. You drive up and the light may be flashing, and you got to figure that out, or it may be dead, and they've got little stop sign cross horses out on the streets, or there may not be anything there, but you just have to figure it out for yourself.
Oh, that's scary. Sounds like you need a doji kind of thing, or you need well, you need a forensic. How about a forensic audit then? Forensic audit is what you need. So you need to know, because you got to know who's there, what they do. And if they don't do, they're gone. But somebody who knows how to do it will be there.
Right.
That's just basic kind of stuff.
And I believe city workers are ready for better leadership and better accountability. The dysfunction really can be fixed, but somebody's got to direct it from the top.
Well, I'll tell you what, perfect timing, because that's our music. I know you got to get going. So that's our end of the segment, and our thanks to you today. So we'll see you after the next one, right?
Yes.
So good luck on April 22, and we'll hopefully see you back in the studio thereafter.
Thank you, Mary.
Good luck. See ya. All right, everybody. We're going to come back in just a few minutes. Stay where you are. We got one city taken care of as they head off. Actually, I don't think there's any other runoffs to talk about, except to tell you that let's see, on what day is this? I don't know now. I thought I put her down.
The 4th. Yeah, today's the 4th.
Today's the 4th. Yeah, I'm looking ahead at my thing here. I thought I booked somebody for next week. Possibly. Well, for sure next week. Of course, it's not anything to do with the races. But next Tuesday, Sheriff Tyree Jones is going to join us. I've been wanting to talk with him for a long time anyway, and I've got to remember to call the office and see if they'll send us some pictures. I want to see some pictures of that new jail, because it's got vertical construction now. Well on the way.
And this isn't anything that anyone in JPD has ever expressed to me from my limited experience with them, but I think that personally, I don't see how they're functioning within that building right there. I mean, there's no parking.
Oh, they
could move across over there. There's so many areas that could be redeveloped, and that building is just. I don't see how they do it with the limitations. And and again, and not a complaint, but I do see that the police department needs some space.
Well, yeah,
as you bring more people in and you do and grow. I mean, it's that building, they've outgrown it already.
Well, it was just poorly made. You're talking about the
downtown one. Yeah.
Oh, I'm talking about the one out in Raymond.
No.
That one was shoddily built, and it has to be maintained though according to federal rules and guidelines about how prisoners have to be held and treated and so on and so on. They have to pay money to keep that thing going decently, but then they're trying to spend money building a new jail. Well, it's a shame they have to keep up with the old one, but then again, if they don't, there'd be escape.
Well, and this is I'm referring to those administrative offices downtown, and where you have There's the court, and then a lot of government buildings right there. It's just packed. You can't get in and out of there. It's tough. I mean, I can't imagine the efficiency there is very good and getting in and out and logistics. But again, I know that's money being spent.
You're talking about PD now. You're not talking county.
JPD. Yeah.
JPD. Oh yeah.
From my experience,
they'll like to hear you talking. They'll like to hear.
I mean that sincerely too. I mean that is the capital city.
It's got to look.
And they need more, in my opinion, than what they have been allocated. And as Senator Horhn said, with a robust and healthy budget, the questions are, where's the money been going?
Exactly.
And again, I'm not pointing a finger. I'm just saying, where's the money?
Exactly. Because
so much
Councilman
wrong.
Stokes has said that too. He's been on here a number of times talking about just everything. Where's the money? We don't know where the money's going. There's $1 million here, $1 million there, and whatever. Pretty soon you're talking about a lot of money. Yeah. So those things will be found out. Those things will be found out. Presuming
the forensic accounting.
Yes, the forensic accounting would be a very good one. I mean, that would be the first thing.
And a lot of folks are going to go, well, I don't live in Jackson and I don't care. Well, you better.
This
is your capital city.
Exactly. I don't live in Jackson, and I don't even live in a city. I couldn't vote for anybody. Unincorporated area of Rankin County, like you. We don't have a city to vote for, but it matters because you have to come here. And this is the capital city. Even if we don't ever come here, it's the capital city, and a lot of people do. And you have to, you have people coming into Mississippi, and you might bring friends or relatives into town to see things. Like this one cousin of mine, the first thing she ever got here years ago, she said, I've got to see Eudora Welty's house. This is a thing that she had to do more than anything. Stuff like that. You have to see that. And by the way, that reminds me, I'm going to hold this up.
Yeah.
I'm going to hold this up because
this great event.
This is the thing for tomorrow. It is the 18th annual Township Jazz Festival. She's great. Their star performer is Grace Kelly. She's a singer and saxophonist. You can look her up. Just Google Grace Kelly saxophonist, because otherwise you'll get the original Grace Kelly.
I did that first.
Oh yeah. Well, they come up sometimes kind of together. But and here's what's really interesting. Tripp and Raphael were on here on Tuesday, and Raphael said, he's checked with, I think he said David Hartman told him. He was hanging on David Hartman's forecast, David Hartman from Channel 16, who said, well, it's not going to rain until the nighttime. And that forecast has been holding still because the festival runs from 11 to 7. And at 7 o'clock, they do a walk around parade. Anyway, the thing is, bad weather's coming, but not until around dark. And I don't think it's going to be dark at 7 o'clock, not quite dark. So it looks like, everything's going to go for them. And they're just real proud of this thing. It is a wonderful thing to go to. Have you ever been to it? No, maybe not.
I have not. No, when I've worked the weekend so much that I haven't had an opportunity. But if there's a window to get over there this Saturday, I will be there. It just depends on what my
It's a good thing. It's a really good thing. And they're having they got the Vamps. In case you if you've ever seen them, Southern Comfort Brass Band, JSU's Jazz Ensemble, Madison Central's Jazz Band, Murrah High School's has got their 1400 Jazz FM band, I guess. And so it's just really cool. And Grace Kelly, she'll be on at around 5 o'clock, something like that. And it's free, totally free. They have, they have beneficiaries. They have sponsors to take care of things. A lot of good food will be there. I think Hal and Mouse is going to be there. Soulshine Pizza, of course, they're right near there. This festival, well, where is it, Mary? Well, it's on Highland Colony Parkway, before Steed Road, I believe. But if you get on Highland Colony, around Renaissance, and then just keep on going, you'll see before too long, on the left, there'll be a large big tent and a lot of people. Well, that's where you got to go. You can't miss it. And there's all kinds of parking like there, but in the back of it, I always like park. There's a big sort of a field back there, and I park back there. You can always find a place, no problem at all.
Yeah, and y'all go find Raphael and Tripp and tell them that you heard them on Mary Wieden You, and they were amazing.
You did say that, or they said that?
That's what anybody go and go find Raphael and Tripp. They won't be busy at all.
Oh yeah,
we heard of you.
You just see Raph running around like I don't even try to say hello to him anymore because he's so into it, and he's such a great organizer. And and Tripp's he's doing his own place. He owns Fusion Coffee House Plus, running this. And he does have, it was cute. His kids were little when he started doing this. Now they're teenagers and all that kind of stuff. They're all grown up. But they have giveaways. They do things. I don't remember what it is that you do to earn a giveaway, but it's not hard. Anyway, and it's a nice thing to do. And always good food. And they ask that you bring a blanket to sit on or a chair. Don't bring umbrellas, though, because, if it rains, it won't, though. Rain's going to stay away. But you don't want to block people's view. There's a large area that's covered usually. It's where the stage is. And then there's a number of covered, places where you can sit right there in folding chairs. The audio, folks, and this is a jazz festival, the audio audio is fantastic, as you would expect anyway, but it's really good. And he gets somebody from out of town, I think you said, to do the audio for this. Every instrument is, you can hear everything, you can see everything. It's great. It's just a real fun, cool thing to do. Well, I was looking to find if there was any.
Said one other really cool thing going on this weekend is at the Mississippi Museum of Natural Science, the Nature Fest.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a big deal they do, and that's 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. April the 5th. And we just had her on in the previous, and I said, I'm going to hit it again because we got a lot of folks in Jackson that would love to do that. Live demonstrations of reptiles, citizen scientist explorations, behind-the-scene tours with scientists, rock climbing wall, and all kind of good stuff.
Where is it?
It's going to be at the
museum? Natural Science Museum?
Right, yeah.
By the way, speaking of nature and stuff like that, every Sunday night, and I don't know how many more they've got left, but on NBC from 6 to 8 o'clock, there's this thing called The Americas, and it's narrated by Tom Hanks. It's fantastic. I don't know. Have you seen any of it? He's really good at that. He's good at anything, but I forget what they're doing. What's it about? But it's always about, it's about the earth and the creatures who live there, things like that. Like there's this one fascinating thing. It's under the Everglades or somewhere in Florida, many feet below, and like below Tampa or something. Clear water. It's their aquifer, and you can dive. People who are crazy can dive because you can't see anything down there. But it's like, wow, who would ever have thought that Florida's got this aquifer like that?
It is amazing, actually, that Florida, similar to the Yucatan, is a lot of limestone, and there's holes and pores, and so all the water gets down in there underneath that, and they say it's great for diving. Mexico has some great holes where there's just a sinkhole in the ground, and you can dive hundreds and hundreds of feet down. So the earth is interesting, and that we got all this water right underneath us. But you just don't see it.
No, that's right. And as far as animals, they've done great things with all the animals. By the way, I was talking with somebody recently who said, I was asking, he was retired from the wildlife, U.S. wildlife, and I said, do we have a lot of coyotes in Mississippi? He said, yes, we do. We got a ton of coyotes in Mississippi. We don't see them necessarily in our neighborhoods. Of course, we have a ton of deer roaming around too, but we don't see the coyotes. But yes, we have a ton of them. I said, what about wild boar? He said, oh, yes.
Everywhere.
They're everywhere too. And it is open season, open hunting on boar. You can kill wild pigs.
They don't taste too good when they get big, but those little baby ones are, if you catch, the crew, the whole clan there, the mommy and the daddy, and about 9 babies. Used to have a friend, and they would take out the whole thing. They'd eat the little ones, and then the big ones they're a little tough and nasty. But yeah, they're boar everywhere. Russian boar.
They're everywhere.
And the coyotes, I can go sit out in the Delta at night.
Oh,
and you'll hear 3 packs, one over here and one over there and one back there. Is
that what they sound like when they fight?
Just like a dog.
But they howl, right?
They'll howl, and then when they get to fighting each other, it sounds like a pack of dogs fighting. And you're going, okay. And then they'll do that. They don't get along, and then they do get along, and then they don't. But they're wild. And
what are your dogs? How do your dogs react to them? When they hear that sound, do they?
They know exactly what
they know what it is, but they don't try to.
No, Hawk. His ears pop up.
This is the German short hair.
Yeah, the German, and then the female. I call her my coyote fox because she's golden and yellow.
Yeah, she's a lab.
Yeah, but she's a fox red. So her nickname is Coyote Fox. So anytime I say those are coyotes, she already knows.
My family?
That's my people. It's half my people. But she knows not to go mess with them.
What's her name?
Dottie.
Dottie. Oh yeah, okay.
Little sweetheart.
And Hawk is the German short-haired pointer.
He is. Yeah, he is something. But
has he proven himself to be a good hunter yet?
He's proven himself to be very dedicated to it. He had caught his first bird the other day. In his mouth, and didn't quite understand what to do with it because he's
don't bite on it.
No,
buddy.
it was alive.
No.
Yeah, he was a blue jay.
Yeah.
He ran around the corner.
Oh, he
blue
did.
jay felt like he could get away quick, and Hawk is. His nickname is Spotted Lightning, and he got him and had him in his mouth, and he didn't quite know what to do. It was his first one to catch.
That's right.
So the bird got away, and he was kind of confused. But since then, he's been doing a lot of stalking.
Well, that means he's got a good soft mouth.
Oh yeah.
A terrible thing happened with our German Shorter one time. I had her over at a girlfriend's house, and so she and I, they had a dog and a parakeet, I guess it was, and she and I were watching TV, and she went in the kitchen to get something, and she started screaming it. This was the first Heidi in my life. Heidi, Heidi. And I went out there, and here's Heidi with a little parakeet in her mouth, but it died of fright, and I was horrified. It had a heart attack or something. But Heidi would have gone through the whole point and all this kind of stuff. But she's the dog that had the soft mouth who would retrieve raw eggs from my dad. He'd make her sit or have her sit, and then he'd go hide a raw egg and have her retrieve it. Unbroken.
I saw a really cool video a couple of days ago of an individual who was wanting to find a treasure, and the box of the treasure was made out of copper. And he said, okay, I'm going to teach my bird dog how to smell copper. So that, about 6 feet, 4, 5, 6 feet down. So what he did was he took treats, and he'd dig a hole, and he'd put the treats in there with the copper. And the dog, it was fun watching the dog work because he'd immediately find the treats. And then over a few days, he would remove the treats and just leave the copper. And the dog would find the copper sliver, and then he'd dig it deeper and deeper. So it was really interesting watching how quickly a smart dog like that is going to pick up on what you really want them to learn. But there's that step-by-step process to do it. But no, I was blown away. I was like, wow, you can get a dog to smell copper 6 feet
Well, you can get
deep.
them to smell cancer. You can get them to smell, other things that people, epilepsy, something like that. They know those things. Yeah. Yes. And I often wondered, how do you teach a dog to look out for cadaver dogs in water? Well, I think I finally figured that one out. That's gases. The corpse will, emit gases and they'll pick it up. We'll be back for another scintillating segment. Maybe we'll do hot water heaters and other things. Stay where you are. When you get blown around is what'll happen. Honestly, I feel like Mary Poppins.
It's not toupee weather, that's for sure.
It's terrible. By the way, I was looking just at the list here of people and what callers have had to say and stuff. And so apparently you were talking about the streetcar named Desire today.
We had that conversation.
And who was it who yelled the name of the woman?
Oh, that was me.
Well, could you give us an example of it?
Stella!
Stella! There's some people in my neighborhood that have a dog named Stella and have free time.
Every time you think of Marlon.
Well, yeah, I think of that. Certainly I'm no fan of his. I didn't think he was any great shakes. I mean, I know he's considered a great actor and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I've seen some of those old movies. But,
I'm not a huge fan. I liked him in the Godfather role because I thought he played a very good part as Vito Corleone.
And people wonder where they can see it. Well, it's on AMC all the time.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like they're always running.
I'm more of a fan of like the Maltese Falcon with Humphrey Bogart, some of the older black and whites like that.
Yeah, I never got that. I never quite understood that movie. I don't get what I know it was about, but it was about, but it was in a fake thing and whatever. It was like, I never did catch it.
World War II era stuff.
Well, yeah, I like those. I don't get to see a lot of that stuff anymore because I don't get TCM anymore. But
I'll catch one. The great thing is that there's a free app that you can find that's like Western something. It's old movie and Westerns, and it's usually like a brown wooden looking. It looks like a wooden plaque, and it'll be in yellow.
Not Grit.
No, it's not Grit, but it's something that I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, it's an app. You can get it on your phone, but I find a lot of free. Really cool old stuff.
Well, you can even go on. Where have I found some old film noirs and stuff like that? I don't know what it is though. There's something I have somewhere.
The free ones are good, like Tubi.
Oh yeah, well yeah, they have good ones.
On Tubi. I'm a big Michael Caine fan. Like it's and Roger Moore too. Before they got big, when they were playing in the low budget spy capers, and you had like Roger Moore in the Saint and some of the stuff related to. I love those because they weren't famous really then.
Well, on Grit though, if you like Western movies on Grit, they have these Western movies.
I watch them with Dixon all the time.
Well, have you noticed that there's this place somewhere? I don't know what state it's in. It's sort of a pink rock formation, and I can't tell you how many of those movies were made near that pink rock formation. They always were riding their horses up and down. It's in all the movies. Like it was a popular place for people to hide out. Whether it could be a train, but it's near a train or it's near all these sorts of things. It's a very popular thing. By the way, I just wanted to say about tariffs. There's a lot of hooping and hollering. Oh my God, the world is coming to an end. The world is not coming to an end, and surprisingly, I would say that because I depend on the stock market to do well, and it's not doing very well right now. It will in due time, but I don't know what that due time is. But I'm not going to have a stroke over the whole thing. I don't think you should. But I would say that it's not a good time to buy something like a car. They're going to get hit with stuff right now unless you need to. Don't buy stuff that you don't need. You can hold off for a little while. But if you need to buy a car, well, now's a good time before stuff kicks in.
We got Ford doing that employee pricing deal for the
if you want to buy a Ford. Found on the road dead. Found on the road daily, or fix or repair daily. That was it.
I remember those.
Remember those?
Yeah.
Well, I'm from Detroit and all that stuff.
You knew all the car lingo, I'm sure.
Well, not really, but I would say I have a car sense about me. I don't know all the cars, but I have a sense of them. That's however you define a sense of them, I don't know, but that's what I have. And I was never fond of Detroit cars either. I mean, just built-in obsolescence and, by people who weren't necessarily the best of people in the whole world, and you're paying for their insurance and blah, 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 blah. And I, got to calling General Motors Government Motors because the government owns part of General Motors. And, I'm just not fond of that stuff. But, I mean, they've come a long way in certain ways, but I'm just not fond of them.
Well, they spent a lot of money on vehicles nobody wanted. The government incentivized to do that, and a lot of them are going to pay the price for that. And again, I think you make a good point. You've got to be careful, even as a business, and what you invest in. This fad today may not be the fad tomorrow. And if you're investing billions of dollars into some technology that's not proven and people don't want, you're going to pay for that. And chances are that will be me and you, or people buying cars paying for that, or the government or the taxpayer, because as we've seen, the government doesn't mind bailing out businesses that are too big to fail. And so again, it goes back to what you just said. If you don't need it,
don't do it. And then as far as all these things that have tariffs on, I came across this list. It doesn't say the brand names. It'll have what are kind of fish, tilapia, lobster, yada yada yada. Well, when you go to your store, at least our stores that we go to, if you go to the meat and fish department, the fish department will show you, raised on the Gulf Coast or raised in Malaysia or Vietnam or something like that. If you don't have to have those foods, if you don't want to buy those foods because you're doing your own personal boycott, well then wait till it's over with. If you want to buy them, but if you don't want to, then you don't have to. You don't have to buy them.
It also shows how interconnected we are globally.
Terribly interconnected.
And you heard Vietnam the other day was talking about they said, look, we've got to be and diversify more away from depending on America. Yes, and as well, everyone should diversify. Again, I mean, I'm one of those that say tariffs are not going to break the bank. It's not a long-term solution.
No. They'll all start caving.
At some point, people are going to realize that America is not going to be the stepchild you beat up on every day. And,
there's a story out just today about Vietnam. Let me see, where was it? This is 45 minutes ago from The Independent. Vietnamese negotiators are heading to Washington after being hit with a 46% tariff and making them dramatically, their products, more expensive. President Trump's announced tariffs on Vietnam are not in line with the reality of mutually beneficial economic and trade cooperation between the two countries, says their foreign ministry spokesman Pham Thu Hang. Vietnam's tariffs are among the highest in the world, exceeding those of their competitors like Thailand and Malaysia. At stake are, now this is important, electronics, textiles, footwear, seafood, and other exports that totaled nearly $120 billion last year, accounting for nearly a third of the country's total exports. Well, so you got to lower your stuff. So the defense deputy prime minister and former finance minister, they're scheduled to hit the U.S. and Cuba from April 6th to the 14th. And they say that Vietnam is actively engaged with the U.S. to address concerns, promote ties, and work toward fair, mutually beneficial trade,
Then get rid of the tariffs on us. It's real simple. Just remove the tariffs, free trade, let's roll.
All you got to do. Exactly. So now let's do hot water heaters. This is fascinating. I had to come to work Tuesday with a cold shower because my hot water heater, that's 28 years old, crashed. And I checked it Monday. I was getting a little bit of, like tepid water. And then Monday night, though, I went around, I did everything, the circuit breakers and the GFI and all that kind of stuff, leave the water, and it was just plain dead. Okay, so so that was really nice. Tuesday morning, taking a shower. If it was August, it would have been okay, but that's whatever. And so Tuesday afternoon, it took forever. I thought you just call up somebody, call up the heating and cooling people, say, hey, bring hot water here. No, you have to have a plumber. I don't have a plumber. So here's a plumber. They call these people who never called back. One did and was slammed. And so finally I called a big company, and I figured maybe they'll have somebody. And they did. They had somebody who came over late Tuesday afternoon to see what was needed. And And he goes, okay, I get it, a new one. If you'll go down to this big box store, then you can get it, and I will pick it up Wednesday and bring it and install it. Well, the first big box store didn't have my brand that I wanted. He goes, we got to go online for that. I said, no, I don't have time to go online. So the other big box store, he said, well, go down to that one. So I went down to that one, and they had exactly what was going to go in my house right there in a box, 50-gallon gas.
So yours a gas one, yeah?
Yes, and I'm not going to go gas or white, whatever it is, pipeless or whatever, tankless.
You don't want to go tankless?
No, I mean, you have to go through gyrations, and I'm not going to do that. Just give me a good...
Just get it fixed.
Just give me a good thing here. And set the temperature not at high. I don't put it on high, put it on like medium, a little bit over medium. But anyway, so that's what happened. They came Wednesday. I had to be away for a good portion of the day, but they got there at 3 o'clock. And got the thing installed. It was like happiness. But so Wednesday morning, I also had to go. I had to go to this luncheon on a cold shower too. So after they left and got the thing installed, I went in there and used it. Oh, it's heavenly, folks. But I didn't realize you had to do all that. I mean, I thought it's like you call up your washing machine. You call up and get a new washing machine over the company. No.
Yeah, the gas ones are a little bit more intensive, because you're dealing with a gas line and all that. The electric ones are easy. You just make sure you got the right plug and plug it in.
Well, this is you have to plug this in, I guess, don't you? You have to plug it in. Yeah, it has to have an electric hookup.
But as far as the gas, what keeps it hot is going to be gas versus the electric one is going to be running off of electricity. Those are easier to, redo. I've had to rebuild a few of the electric ones over the years, but the gas ones, they're a little more work on them.
Well, that was okay because they did it and everything's wonderful. Like I said, as soon as they left, I went in there.
Oh, what a relief. Huh?
And if it would have been August, that would have been okay. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so that's the thrill of owning a home, and that's my first experience with a hot water heater. Because
you got a lot of good life out of that. I had
28 years, there wasn't a drop of water in the drain pan. What do you call it? Drain pan, I guess.
Right.
Not one drop of water there, and I have two. I have one in the kitchen that just does the kitchen and the laundry room. Same age, it's 40 gallons, and not a drop of water. Neither one of those have ever been 1 ounce of trouble. Did you have trouble? So you went through the same thing.
Well, it just burnt. It just got old. The one at Deer Camp that I had to replace just had silt in it from being on a well forever, and eventually it was just like better to get rid of it and do a new one. And then about a week ago, I had to replace one at the house.
That was your cold shower time.
Yeah,
right?
I had a couple of those like you.
That was so much fun. Yeah. So did you do the installation?
No. I mean, I had a contract on the AC and hot water heater and all that, so they came out and under contract fixed it and put a new one in.
Well,
they put a bad one in to start with, apparently.
Well, this is the thing about owning a home. So this house is now 28 years, it will be. And so things go. One HVAC went, now one hot water heater. Oh, boy, I can't wait for the other things to crash, and everything will be new and pretty again. But anyway, all is well. Have a great weekend, everybody. And try to get to the Township Jazz Festival, if you can, tomorrow, 11 to 7. And see Grace Kelly and the Vamps and a whole bunch of cool people. And that other thing that you talked about at the Mississippi Museum, Natural Science Museum, right? Yeah, lots of good things to do. All right, everybody, take care. See you.